Hi, welcome to Phil Sewing. My name's Cindy, and today we're going to do part 2, the accessories, the micro insert accessories for the Baby Lock Applaud Creative Cover Stitch Machine. The first thing I'm going to do is show you the various cording, taping, micro insert kit. Okay, so these are the various inserts are identified with a colored dot. And these are very difficult to keep track of because they're so clear. So what I would recommend doing is keeping them in your compartment on the Applaud or somewhere safe when you're not using them. This particular kit comes with the box with the little foam that keeps them safe. So I would highly recommend using that because they are very easy to lose. So one thing I want to go over is the samples that I've got here, and this encases the ribbon. Now this is 6 millimeter, and I've got like a wider ribbon here, which we've done the 3-thread cover hem, and here is 2 cords. We use the cording on this one. There's a double cording on this. This is the narrow. This is a 2 millimeter cording. I've got a 2.5 millimeter, which I've used a piece of variegated yarn. It changes colors as we go down. And then here is a narrower ribbon, but it's not quite too narrow for the 3 millimeters, so I use the wider one. So we got a little extra space in there. But this allows you to be a little bit more creative with the machine. Another thing I've used is I've used the rickrack, and I used invisible thread. So it's a little difficult to see the invisible thread in the wipers, but it does provide a very nice outcome. Now I use the foot that comes with the machine. I showed it in part 1. It has the 3 red strips, and that I find I can use for applying sequins. And I've got invisible thread in my right and left loopers. So I'm going to show you really quick how nicely this applies sequins to your project. So I've already started. I'm just going to lift my foot and insert this underneath there. And you want to make sure that your sequence is flat. And what I've done is there's like a chain stitch holding these sequins together. And I line that up with the center needle mark on my insert. And this is the insert that came with the machine. So you just hold it a little taut. And it really makes a nice application, an almost invisible application for applying sequins. So this is the best way I've found to apply your roll of sequins to a project. Now I did want to point out that when you purchase the feet, there's a QR code here, and you can scan that with your phone and download the instructions, or you can simply go to babylock.com and go to the accessories page and download the instructions for the micro feet there. So I've downloaded the instructions and printed it out, and it does identify that what the colored dots identify what foot. So the red dot on the cording foot would be the 5 millimeter. The yellow dot is a 2.5 millimeter, and the pink dot, the 2 millimeter. And there's a light blue dot that's a 1.6. So, and that's the same with the stitch in the ditch, or excuse me, the taping feet. The taping feet are identified as the blue dot with the 8 millimeter and the green dot for the 5 millimeter. So that really gives you a lot of information on these instructions. It tells you, how to apply, how to insert them, how to apply them, what they're used for, and the recommended stitches for each foot. So I've showed you the sequence application, and we'll take that off here now. And the next thing I will show you is the, I'm going to remove this this insert there. That's the one that comes with it. And what I've had a habit of doing is putting that in the place of in the foam box of the one that I am using. So I'm currently going to use the 8 millimeter taping foot. And what I've done is, what you do is, I'll show you, you want to go up. It's hard to see. Let's see if I can put something colored behind it. You've got 2 holes here, and what you're going to do is come up through the one hole. There's the blue dot, and then you're going to go down, and then I'll insert the foot, or I'll insert the insert. So I'm going to come up through the first hole, insert it into the second hole, and I'm going to pull it through. So I'm going to raise my foot and just insert this on the front of the foot. So I've got that ready, and we're going to stitch that down. Insert my fabric, lower my foot, and you just kind of hold it up and a little taut, and applies the zigzag, it really does a great job, and it's effortless. So these inserts really do assist with a great positioning for your rickrack. So I'm going to remove this foot. Okay, so what I've done is I inserted 2 cords, and this is the yellow dot, which the yellow dot is the 2.5 millimeter. So I'm going to do a 3 needle cover stitch. I'm using all 3 needles. And I've inserted both these cords. You come up and then down like I showed you, just like the first one. And then I'm going to snap the insert on. And I'm just going to get this started. I'm putting those cords underneath the foot so I can get it started a little bit. And then I'm going to put my project under the needle. And this is going to install these cords, and that center needle is going to stitch right between the 2 cords. Very nice decorative application. So now I have my 2 cords enclosed with the decorative cover hem stitch. This is a 3 thread wide, and that's the cover hem with 2 wipers. I've got the variegated 12 weight thread in the wipers. Okay, now I've removed my right needle, and I am doing a 2 thread 2 needle left narrow hem cover hem. I've inserted, I'm using the green dot taping foot, which is the 5 millimeter. I've got a 3 millimeter spool of ribbon, and I've just going to insert this on top of my foot, and I'm going to lower my presser foot, and it will automatically guide. The insert puts that ribbon exactly where it needs to be, automatically guides it under the presser foot, so I have perfect placement. Now let's try that and expand our stitch length to a 4 this time. That was at a 2. Just to show you a little bit of difference there. It opens up those circles a little bit more and just gives a little bit different look. So as you can see with these microfiche inserts, they really provide you additional tools to create with using your Baby Lock Applaud. Another accessory I'd like to show you, which is one of my favorites, is the fabric guide. This is especially comes in handy when you're doing a cover hem. So I want to show you an application, and I'm going to do a decorative hem using one of the cording feet. Now I've got my Applaud set up for left narrow cover hem. So I've got my C1 and C2 needles and my chain looper. So this is it. It's the BLES 8-FG, and it attaches with the 2 screws, and this slider can slide to any width that you choose. Now what I like to do, I've got my fabric folded for the hem. This is my hem, and the easiest way I found is to line up my raw edge here with my left needle, and see, I've got it placed that. But we're going to stitch on the other side because this is going to be a decorative hem. And another thing I'd like to add is I've used yarn, just a regular, I think this is 4-ply yarn. It is actually 4-ply. It's a 2-ounce. So that's the yarn I'm using. I put it through the left hole on my 2 millimeter cording foot, and I'm just going to insert this on the machine. You snap that on the toe. Okay, I've got my fabric guide set to where I want it, and this hem, the raw side, is going to go down. So I'm going to put that against, the fold is going to be against this guide here, and I've got that yarn in there, and I'm just going to stitch. The cording foot's going to guide that yarn, and my fabric guide is going to keep it perfectly along that raw edge. So that raw edge is all encased. It's all lined up perfectly, and my cording is through the front side of the hem, and now we've got a nice little decorative hem for any project. Okay, the next accessory I would like to show you is the Stitch in the Ditch Micro Insert Foot Kit. Now this provides you the left, I have the center in my hand, and then the right needle Stitch in the Ditch inserts. So I'm going to currently use the center right now. I'm going to put my other foot right back in here so I don't lose that. So I'm going to put a piece of black fabric under this so you can see it. This is going to provide me that center guide for that needle, so that when I stitch in the ditch, this center guide is going to go right in that seam. So there's my center guide, and I'll just show you the application that I did here. I did a quilt square and I do stitch in the ditch with the decorative, and I'm using a Monet yarn. It's I'm not sure what the weight is, but it's a textured yarn, and it gave this quilt square just a little bit more interest. So I have the same quilt square here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ride this, insert the blade right in that seam, which is going to give me that perfect placement for that. I've got my Applaud set up for the 3-thread wide cover hem, and I'm just going to pop this insert on the toe of my foot, and I've got my foot raised, and I'm just going to run that guide along my seam and stitch. That centers that perfectly on that seam. And this will really benefit you when you're putting quilt blocks together, so that you're going to know that they're all centered on those seams. So it works great to add a little extra interest to your quilt squares. Now you can go ahead on this one. I did a diagonal too, and that really doesn't require that foot, but this really does make a cute little quilt square. Adds a little bit more to it. You could use other decorative threads. You could do a narrow. You could use your left or your right, either way. So it's just another accessory for the Applaud that I think that you'll appreciate. Thank you for joining us. I hope this video was informative for the accessories for the Applaud. Don't forget to watch part 1 if you haven't watched part 1 for the Applaud. And if you have any questions at all, or if you need any assistance, or if you'd like to sit down and test drive this machine, which would give you a lot of joy, please feel free to contact Phil's Sewing, and they'll be happy to set up an appointment or just walk in and see him. Thank you, and have a nice day.